Hey everybody, HollywoodPizza here, and we're going to be playing some Mono Red today. We got a new card from the Explore Anthology 2, Eidolon of the Great Revel, pretty classic red card. For 2 red, you get a 2/2, and whenever a player casts a spell with mana value 3 or less, this card's going to deal 2 damage to that player. Just a really great card against a lot of strategies overall in Magic. The curve tends to be a lot lower, so you can end up dealing quite a bit of damage with the Eidolon, considering that you're already going to be dealing a lot of damage to your opponent with some other spells like Play with Fire in our 1-drop slot, which deals 2 damage to any target, and then if it dealt damage to a player, you get to scry 1. We also have Kumano's, another great 1-drop that can deal 1 damage when it comes down. Then you can pump up one of your creatures with a +1/+1 counter for the second part of the saga, and then the third part you get a 2/2 haste, which can end up exiling some things as long as those things die on your opponent's side. We also have Monastery Swift Spear, which is just a phenomenal 1-drop. Has prowess haste, can just get really big considering we have a lot of burn spells, can kind of just like close out the game pretty quickly. Phoenix Chick is actually pretty decent. It's a 1-drop, it has haste, it flies, it gets in there, it helps kind of cast some of your other cards like Skewer the Critics, which deals 3 damage, but if you've dealt damage to your opponent, you can cast it for the 1 red, so essentially turns into Lightning Bolt at sorcery speed. And you also have Light Up the Stage, which is another card that has Spectacle for the 1 red, and this card ends up giving you a little bit of some card advantage where you can exile the top 2 cards of your library. And then until the end of your next turn, you can play those cards. Rounding out the deck here, we have 4 Bone Crusher Giants, which are just phenomenal. You can cast the front side to stop 2 damage any target, and damage can't be prevented that turn. You can also play as a 3 mana 4/3, which whenever it becomes a target of a spell, that spell's controller, as long as it's your opponent, they take 2. And yeah, overall I think it's just a really phenomenal card. It's almost always going to be a 2-for-1. It's just one of the best cards in most red decks. We also have 4 Lightning Strike, 2 mana, 3 damage. Kind of just like a classic card, instant speed. Just deals with most things, can kind of just help burn out the opponent as well later in the game. And we also have 2 Spikefield Hazards, which can kind of play as lands and deal damage to anything. Just 1 damage, but it can kind of help snipe some things that are kind of just running around in the format. We also have the one of Chandra, Dress to Kill. 3 mana Planeswalker, comes in with 3 loyalty. You can uptick it for 1 loyalty and add a red, and it deals 1 damage to a player or Planeswalker. Then you can uptick again later on, exile top card of your library if it's red. You may cast it that turn, and then if you get to the ultimate, you exile top 5 cards of your library. You can cast red spells from among them. You get an emblem whenever you cast a red spell. This emblem deals X damage to any target, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. So you can kind of start to deal your opponent quite a bit of damage. A lot of the time, I think it's just like a card they're going to sideboard out against aggressive matchups. I think it's pretty good because it can kind of help add mana and deal damage, but at the same time, that ultimate's kind of like a little bit of a pipe dream a lot of the time. And the second ability is really useful though in terms of like a card advantage engine. For special lands, we have 3 Den of the Bugbears, which are just going to be like our creature lands that help us kind of just get there, go over the top. 4 Ramanap Rooms as well to deal the last few points of damage. And 1 Upsokenzin, which can sometimes get us a couple 1/1s. And 12 mountains, excuse me, to round out the lands. For our sideboard here, we have 3 Rending Volleys, which are just really phenomenal against a lot of cards right now in the format. It's 1 red, can't be countered, deals 4 damage to a white or blue creature. Really good against Greasefang, good against some of the things in control decks, good against like new cards like Reflector Mage that enter the format with cards like Eidolon because of the anthologies. So overall, I think Rending Volley is just really great. It's good against any of the white human based decks as well. We also have 4 Burning Hands, considering there's been a lot of mono green devotion running around, so want to make sure that we're able to deal with all the cards in that deck, like Lovestruck Beast, Old Growth Troll, things like that, where a lot of your cards in the main deck aren't really going to be able to deal with them. And speaking of Old Growth Troll, the Obliterating Bolt definitely helps with that. Deals 4 damage to a creature or Planeswalker, then if that card would die, it gets exiled instead. So it can deal with quite a bit of things at that 4 damage, and on top of that, it's going to be exiling it as well. We have 3 rolling vortexes to kind of deal with some kind of combo decks like fight rigging, ultimatum decks, anything that's kind of like that, where your opponent's going to be casting free cards. Fires of Invention specifically comes to mind. And then on top of that, you can also pay 1 red mana to make sure that your opponents can't gain life if you're playing against a deck like Angels, or you know that your opponent kind of just has like a life gain strategy. A couple unlicensers for the graveyard decks like Greasefang, and the extra Chain Whirler here that kind of just helps clean up a lot of things when it comes into play. You know, deals that 1 damage, and on top of that, you get a 3/3 with first strike. So overall, I think this deck's actually just like really good to rank up quickly. If you're just trying to get the Mythic as fast as you can, you always have like a good idea of like wanting to play a deck like this, because you just get to play a lot more games in a smaller amount of time. And on top of that, when your opponents just like stumble, and we all know that in Magic you can kind of stumble here and there, red deck kind of like punishes it pretty quickly. On top of that, like the addition of Eidolon has just been really solid, considering that you can just get your opponent down pretty low, and then an Eidolon or 2 are just going to end the game. So let's go ahead and jump into some games and have some fun. Alright, got a pretty good opening hand here. A couple lands, some spells. Opponent starts with the Elvish Mystic. We're going to go off with our Kumanos here. And probably play this Eidolon on turn 2. Opponent does have an Old Growth Troll though, so it could be pretty dangerous here. And let's just get this Eidolon down. Pass the turn back. Alright, they got a Kiora, so they're going to take 2 damage here. They're probably going to come in with the Troll, I would imagine. Yep, coming in, we're going to take it. And opponent does use Kiora here to maximum value. They're able to untap the Troll. And we get our Kumano to flip. Go ahead and play our 3rd land here. We'll come in for some damage. We do have a Play with Fire to kind of finish off the Troll and exile it. We'll play this light up the stage. Still hold up both of these Play with Fires. Okay, Phoenix Chick. I think we'll just play that next turn. Okay, Mightstone, Meekstone. So I was thinking that they would -5/-5 on the Eidolon, but they instead go for double draw here. Okay, Elvish Mystic. So they're going to take another 2, go down to 11. Things are looking pretty good here. And we'll play with fire our opponent. We're going to take a couple damage, but I think that it's worth trading off some damage here and getting closer to essentially killing them, considering we're playing a burn deck. So let's go to get him down to 7 here. We know we're going to keep that light up the stage there. And we start off with our mountain. We can play a Phoenix Chick. Gonna take a couple points of damage, but we do get our opponent down to 6 here off the attack, and then we can light up the stage and hit a Chain Whirler plus a Lightning Strike. So we can Lightning Strike our opponent down to 3, and then essentially kill them on the following turn with the Phoenix Chick and the land in play, the Ramanap. Okay, gonna untap another land, gonna have another play here. And I'm pretty surprised they're just coming in for 3. We're gonna block with our Kumano here, kind of save ourselves some damage so that way we can cast our spells. Really surprised they didn't come in with the Troll. Okay, opponent's making a ton of mana here into a Karn. And they're going to uptick on the stone. Okay. That's fine. They get a blocker. We'll go ahead and go down to 3. Put them at 3 as well. And we can just safely come in with the Phoenix Chick. And crack one of our Ramanap Ruins. And kill our opponent. Let's go ahead and move into sideboarding here. So, want to bring in these Burning Hands. The Obliterating Bolts. Maybe a couple Vortexes, considering that they're just consistent damage. Cut all the Bone Crushers. The Chandra's not really good for this matchup. And I think we'll get rid of all Swift Spears and keep all the Phoenix Chicks. And let's go ahead and see if we can get another aggressive start here. Okay, get a mulligan. Keep this in though, it's pretty good. Start off with a Den into the Phoenix Chick. And then followed up with Eidolon probably. Vortex seems good here for later in the game. Okay, Haven. So they're ramping. We're trading points back and forth. Let's go get this Eidolon down. It'll be able to get some free damage here and there. Alright, so they go with the Beast. Going down to 16. And a Mystic, so they'll go down to 14 actually. Go ahead and attack with our Phoenix Chick. And I think it's fine to just use these two skewers to pretty much have our opponent dead here. If they attack for 5, we just go down to 10. If they want to play some spells, then they're going to have to take some damage. Okay. Unless obviously they play bigger spells, which they get a Nissa down here. And yeah, they don't have a reason to not come in with everyone. I think we'll block their 1/1 though. If we draw a land, we might be able to just Chain Whirler here. Okay, and we do, so let's go ahead and kill their Mystic, that way they can't attack yet. With the Love Struck, unless they have another 1/1, which they could. But we also get them down to 6. 5 with this attack here. So opponent's almost dead here. From just casting cards. Okay, they might be going for a big spell though. Gonna untap their Forest. Just another Kiora, so they're gonna go down to 3. And another Nissa, so they're not gonna take any damage from that, but they are gonna get another 3/3. So they have some good blockers here. And they're getting aggressive. I think we do have to block with the Eidolon, so that way we can not take that much damage from playing some cards. We get to kill one of their creatures for free. We do go down to 2 though. Okay, they're going to untap a land, and they're going to Wolf Willow just to make it 2/2. We hit a Vortex, but no way of dealing that last point of damage here, unfortunately. And not enough blockers to survive till the next turn. I don't think that we need to change anything here in terms of sideboarding. So let's jump right back into it. We are going to be on the play this time, so that's really good. And I don't think we can keep this hand's kind of weak. This is a lot better. We can put a Vortex back. It's not the craziest card in this matchup. Start off with the Kumanos. Deal our opponent a point of damage. And then followed up with that Phoenix Chick. Okay, so they just have a 1/1. We could also play Eidolon here. But I think it's Phoenix Chick holding up the Play with Fire, because then we can scry into potentially like a land or something that we want. Or maybe we even aggressively put the land on the bottom. I think that might end up being better. Yep, Wolf Willow Haven here. We know that we don't want to get too flooded out, and we don't have any big payoffs yet in our hand that are higher than 2 mana, so I think we do put the land back. Alright, unfortunately we do draw a Chain Whirler right after that, but we can draw a land in the future here. Let's get our Eidolon down. We can come in for 4. They may or may not block here. It does save them some life. Yep, gonna go down to 13. Our Chain Whirler would have killed it as well, so they're just gonna Love Struck here. They'll go down to 11. Okay, we draw Lightning Strike, but we're just going to play Vortex because it's consistent damage. Pretty high life total. We can go down to 18, get our opponent down to 9, then 8 here on their upkeep. Okay, Cavalier Thorns. So opponent's at 8. Trying to see if we can break through what they're doing. Right, we're going to take a point here. We hit a Skewer the Critics. So we can't just burn our opponent yet. Gonna have to wait till end step here to do it. Okay, Boseiju. That's actually pretty good though for us. Just because we're able to get our 3rd land. And our opponent's pretty much dead to our hand as it is unless they gain some life, and we're at 17 with a block. Okay, gonna make 5 mana. Maybe a Karn. Okay, just the other Lovestruck Beast. That's fine. And a Wolf Willow Haven. And we'll get our opponent down to 4. They're pretty much dead here because we have Skewer, unless they have like some kind of crazy upkeep effect. And we'll take ourselves a point of damage. Ooh, we draw a Phoenix Chick, so yeah, that's actually just GG right now. We can just come in with both of the flyers. Deal our opponent 1 point of damage. And then Skewer. We still had it though with the Rolling Vortex, which was pretty nice, just in case we didn't top deck that Phoenix Chick, but we're able to get there either way. We'll see you next match.
This video is brought to you by MagicJank.com, the spiciest cards for your sauciest decks. Buy and sell Magic the Gathering products and gear today on MagicJank.com.
Gonna be on the play for this one. And I think we can keep this hand. Got a pretty early play with the Eidolon, and it could potentially chain off some of these early spells as well, like the Light of the Stage and that Skewer. And opponent ends up just playing a tap land here, so let's go and cast this Eidolon, pass turn back. Okay. And it looks like they may just be like a white beatdown deck with a green splash, possibly for Coco. Now let's go and get this Ramonette Ruins down. Spike Field Hazard our opponent for a point of damage. Now, even though we're going to take a lot of damage here from our Eidolon, we're going to get to clear the path and get a redraw with this Light Up the Stage. Okay, so we hit up another Light Up the Stage, that's fine. Opponent on 3 mana here with the Brutal Cathar, so they're going to go down to 13 as well. Okay, we draw a Mountain. We'll just play the Mountain from Exile. We can Lightning Strike our opponent here to cast this Light Up the Stage. That may end up being the better play here, rather than just killing the Brutal Cathar. So that way we actually don't take any extra damage that we don't need to. And we'll just Light Up the Stage again. Alright, so we hit 2 mountains, but at least we know we're not going to draw them. We also have the Stomp for the Brutal Cathar. So we're going to go down to 10. Okay, opponent does have Scavenging Ooze, which is really good. Think that we're going to play this Eidolon with full control. So that way we avoid taking 2 damage from the other Eidolon when it's cast. So Brutal Cathar is going to die. We get 2 Eidolons. Opponent is going to get to gain some life here, though. Unfortunately, go up to 11. To cast a spell, though, they do go down to 7. Unless it's a Coco, so maybe where their game plan is here in that case. We're kind of just flooding out a little bit. And okay, yep, collect the company. We're at 10, so definitely some risky business here. We can use the Ramanap Ruin still to get our opponent down to 9. So let's see what they do here. And opponent gonna go to attacks. I think we'll just pop off maybe this Ramanap. Could also block as well. But yeah, we'll go and just take the damage. I think we just had to get a little bit risky here to kind of win. If we draw a burn spell, we're kind of just dead to our Eidolons here. Okay, so they go down to 7. We're hoping for... I guess either way we take 2 or 4, excuse me. So we're kind of just like in some rough shape here. We have to attack with both Eidolons. That puts them down to 5. I think we got really close to killing our opponent here. But we're just like a point short. Okay, and we just have to take a land anyway. So yeah, even if we play the Ramanap, they're still going to be able to kill us on the crackback, and we don't have enough. Pretty close game. Yeah, and they have Scoos anyway, so they're just going to go up to 6 here. Could have also been potential misplay where maybe we just stomp and play a Bone Crusher on that turn. Not sure. Let's go and cut the Chandras. We'll bring in the bolts. Cut these Swiss Spears. I think we want to keep the Skewer. Maybe just cut 1. Okay, bring in the Burning Hands. And a couple Rending Volleys. Just need a little bit more interaction, at least like on the cheaper spectrum. And on top of that, the Rending Volley could deal 4 damage to something if we need it. Gonna be on the play. It does make quite a bit of a difference. I think we can keep this even though we do have quite a bit of lands. And we can get this Eidolon down. And I think our opponent's just thinking about what they're going to cast here. Okay, going to start off with Luminarch Aspirant, which we can just kill with our Stomp here. Okay. That Spikefield Hazard has been pretty good in this matchup. Alright, let's just stomp the Luminarch here. Come in for some damage. Fast turn back. So we still have a play with fire that we can use to kill something that our opponent plays. Ooh, an Archon though. We actually can't stop that. So we might want to just like play with fire our opponent here. And get a Scry in. Okay, Chain Whirler. I kind of like that. Can actually just cast Bone Crusher. Hold up the Spikefield Hazard to kill something that they play with 1 toughness. And 4/3 is pretty big compared to most of the cards they're going to play. Okay, they could have a Coco here. And I think we're just going to attack first to draw out the Coco. Alright, there it is. So they end up hitting 2 pretty good cards. And I'm actually pretty surprised that they don't take the Bone Crusher here. So we'll let the Spellbinder resolve first, see what they do. Yep, they just take the Chain Whirler. We can just Spikefield the Spellbinder so that way the Bone Crusher will have to potentially just like trade with one of their cards, but they're just going to end up taking the damage here. And we have 4 damage with just the Chain Whirler and the Skewer. Okay. So Spellbinder is going to take the Skewer though, unfortunately. But we do have a Chain Whirler to kill that elite Spellbinder, so our opponent might come in for damage, but they choose not to. So yeah, we're just going to Chain Whirler here. Kill the Spellbinder, get him down to 7, get a good attack in. Now if they want to trade with the Bone Crusher, they have to use both of their creatures, and they end up doing so, surprisingly. So we'll get back a 2/2 here. And we're able to get another creature land on the battlefield, so we're looking pretty good. They're at 7. Okay, just another Archon. And we had to play with fire, so let's play with fire our opponent here. Put that land to the bottom. Go ahead and rumble in with our Den of the Bugbear. And our opponent's going to pack it up. So we'll go ahead and go to game 3. I think we want this other Rending Volley. Seems pretty good. And we can just cut that Burning Hands too, considering most of their deck is just going to be white based and should have enough cards to kill this Scavenger should it come down early. Keep this hand. We have Phoenix Chick on 1, which seems pretty good. And they just have a Llanowar Elf. So they're not going to be able to ramp themselves here. If they have a Spellbinder, it's going to be a little bit annoying. Okay, yep, and they do. Yep, going to take that Stomp. I think we just swing in, though. And they're actually going to take it. We get them down to 16. Let's light up the stage, see what we hit. And I kind of want to avoid getting blown out here by a Collector Company. So I think we'll just skewer this Llanowar Elf. Even though, obviously, the burn spell is pretty strong at 3 damage for 1. I like just getting rid of their ramp here. Don't want them to double spell, don't want them to Coco. Okay, gonna take this Rending Volley. And we hit a light up the stage. I think it's pretty safe to just come in for 1. See if they block. Okay, let's just Lightning Strike this out of the way. Come in for a point of damage, get him down to 15. We could light up the stage. Trying to dig deeper into some spells. Alright, just get rid of 2 mountains, which is fine. Anytime that happens, I'm still pretty happy with getting rid of a land clump. Knight of Autumn does not gain them life, surprisingly. So we're just going to use this Rending Volley here on their Knight of Autumn. And we have the Spikefield Hazard for their Spellbinder in case they had like a Brave the Elements. They're just tapped out right now. And we can keep coming in with this Phoenix Chick. And pass turn back. Okay, Sun Gold Sentinel. That's fine. Alright, we end up drawing a Play with Fire, which is nice here. We can just stop the Sun Gold and hold up the Play with Fire while just dealing a little bit more damage with this flyer here. And then we still have the Bone Crusher next turn. Creature land. Okay, just Luminarch, which we're just going to be able to kill here with this Play with Fire. And I think we play the Bone Crusher. Ooh, we do have Skewer too. Yeah, let's Bone Crusher considering we drew the Skewer. Still dealing our opponent lots of damage here. Okay, Skyclave Apparition. Just going to take the Bone Crusher. Now we can just Skewer the Apparition, get a 3/3. And play the Eidolon to kind of lock our opponent out of the game to a certain degree. It's going to be hard for them to cast some spells while this Eidolon is down. Okay, just another Skyclave, so they're going to take 2, probably get rid of the Eidolon, yep. We just have Ramanap, so I think we just come in for 4. These Ramanaps are just going to be able to finish off our opponent, plus maybe like an attack with the Den of the Bugbear. And they just have a Luminarch. We'll go ahead and sack one of our Ramanap Ruins, get them down to 3. And it's looking like that killing the Llanowar Elf play definitely paid out, considering they were not able to collect a company so far. We just hit a Chain Whirler, but our opponent just concedes. Definitely had the game there either way, but let's go ahead and see how our next match goes. Looking for the latest comic book to add to your collection? How about the last card for that Magic the Gathering Commander deck? Well, the comic book stores got you covered. Shop online at comicbookstore.tcgplayerpro.com or come in person at 30 North Main Street, Glassboro, New Jersey. Pizza people, are you enjoying the content? Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Hit that bell icon as well. That way, anytime any of our new content comes out, you're able to see it right away. Hey, leave a comment down below as well. Tell us what you're going to play in the next event, or tell us what you're enjoying about the video. Don't forget, check out the description too. We've got tons of great content down below. And on top of that, we're going to have our tournament schedule too. So get in on it. Hope to see you. Got a pretty good opening hand here. We'll keep that. Phoenix Chick into Eidolon, or maybe even a Stomp if we need to. And looks like we may be up against another white aggressive deck. It's going to deal our opponent a point of damage. Okay, they're just going to draw. Could just have like a Brave the Elements, which is why there's like a stop there. Alright, so Thalia is going to come down. Cannot stomp it. So we're going to have to attack and skewer. That way we're able to cast the rest of the cards in our hand. Really want to be able to do that, considering we have quite a bit of spells here. Okay, they have a Luminarch Aspirant. And I think we're just going to come in for the point of damage. And we're actually going to try to stomp the Luminarch Aspirant, even if they do have this Brave the Elements. Another play could have also been to stomp our opponent's face and then cast a Skewer, but then that also costs more cards, and I'd rather kill most of the things that they're going to put on the battlefield here. Okay. So, opponent does have quite a bit of an aggressive start here. Gonna take 3 damage, go down to 17. We draw a Lightning Strike, which is pretty decent. We're gonna be able to use that to kill most of their cards here. Now, if they do have another Brave the Elements, we're definitely in some trouble. Alright, and they do. So yeah, things are looking pretty rough. We'll get this Eidolon down, though. Does make for a good blocker. Maybe some free damage if they'd cast something before combat, but opponent's not falling for it this time. And it looks like we're going to be taking about like 9 damage here, I think. 6, 7, 8, yeah, 8 damage, so we go down to 9. I think we have to block one of their creatures to kind of save ourselves here. Kind of need to draw a land, but the Phoenix Chick hitting still makes the Skewer cheaper. So let's get our opponent down to 15. We'll Skewer the Luminarch. Lightning Strike one of the other students. And we'll pass turn back. Okay, Extraction Specialist, pretty good. And they're actually going to be able to get it out of stomp range here, unfortunately. So, yeah, our opponent gaining life definitely going to be a problem here. All that we have right now is the Phoenix Chick. So we top deck a Chandra. It's not really anything too impressive. We can kill the Luminarch Aspirant, which is good. But at the same time, our opponent actually just has lethal here. Might have been better off just actually casting the Bone Crusher to block, but even then, things are still looking pretty rough here. Alright, yep, there's an Adeline. So they would have just been able to hit us for 8 damage. We would have gone down to 1, but this Adeline makes sure that they're actually able to take down game 1. So a little bit tough here against the white aggressive decks that we've had here back to back in game 1, but let's go and see if we can make a comeback here. Let's bring in all those Rending Volleys, Obliterating Bolts, Chain Whirler. We can cut the Chandra. The Swift Spears are not really going to do anything in one of the Phoenix Chicks. Actually, you know what? Let's keep a Phoenix Chick in and cut a Kumanos. Just because I kind of like the Flyers a bit. They make it so that our Spectacle cards are always going to be cheap, pretty much. And going to be on the play. I think we can keep this hand. We can start off with the Kumanos into a Phoenix Chick. Or maybe even like a Play with Fire, but we also have 2 Flyers that we can go back to back with, so. And they have a Recruitment Officer, which seems pretty good. We're just going to play 2 Chicks here. Come in for 3, get them down to 16. And if we top deck a land, we'll have this Chain Whirler, which is going to be really nice. Okay, Luminarch Aspirant's actually going to be able to protect their officer a little bit. Okay, we draw land. So I think we do just kill the Luminarch Aspirant and get a 3/3 first striker on the battlefield. We're going to be able to come in for 5, get our opponent down to 10. And opponent's almost just dead here. Okay, lay down arms, going to get rid of the 2/2 flyer. But things are looking pretty rough. Okay, they get a lieutenant down, that's fine. They have a 4/3, but we can just kill both of their creatures and push damage through here, which is what we're going to do. Lightning strike. And I think we just swing in, considering we have this play with fire. They don't really have a good block. If they do, then that's fine. They would just be gaining themselves life, essentially. Yeah, let's play this mountain in case they have a Thalia. Okay, they do have a Thalia. The lieutenant's going to grow a little bit. I think we want to wait and see if they have another human. And then we kill the lieutenant. Just because we don't want to have a 3/3 on the other side. We want to be able to try to come in with this Kumanos if we draw land, anything like that. Alright, let's play that Den of the Bugbear we just drew. We're going to come in for some damage. Definitely might have been a mistake here because they just get a free block with the Thalia. And they end up having to block the Chain Whirler anyway, so a little bit of a mistake here. We get our opponent down to 3. And let's see what they got. Okay, Bodyguard. So they're going to be able to make their Thalia indestructible if need be, and then lay down the arm. So pretty good plays from our opponent here. We do go up to 23. Okay, we hit a Ramanap. Let's activate one of our dens here. Swing in for some damage. And unless our opponent gains some life, this Ramanap Ruin should be able to finish the game off on the following turn here. So Thalia is definitely just going to block the den. Yep. Going to block the Chain Whirler. And they'll go down to 2. We'll play this Ramanap, let our opponent know if they don't have life gain, the game's pretty much over. Yep. And they're going to go ahead and concede. So I don't think we want to make any changes here from the sideboard. We'll go ahead and just move on to game 3. See if we can come back in another matchup here. Gonna be on the draw this time, so not gonna be able to have such an explosive start. This hand's definitely a keeper though. We have a Phoenix Chick plus a couple burn spells and a Chain Whirler to kind of top it all off with. We're gonna start off with this Phoenix Chick, come in for a point of damage. And we're hoping that this Chain Whirler definitely goes a long way. Question is do they have a Luminarch Aspirant? Okay, Hopeful Initiate. And another Officer. So Chain Whirler is looking good, but we can't cast it yet. And let's play with fire the Hopeful Initiate. Come in for a point of damage. We'll hold up one of these Rending Volleys if we need to do it. Okay, so they have a Dauntless Bodyguard. Now, I think we're actually going to have to Rending Volley that to be able to Chain Whirler both of our opponent's creatures on the following turn. We're going to take 4 damage over it, though, which I'm fine with. I think that's a fine trade to be able to pretty much wipe most of their board. Alright, let's kill this here. We'll get to untap, cast this Chain Whirler. Now, they do have a stop, so they could end up having a Brave the Elements here. Alright, and they do, which is a little bit annoying, but we have a 3/3 first striker on the battlefield now. It's going to be really hard for them to push through, and on top of that, they only really have 2 cards, so looks like they're just going to tap on their main phase to use a Recruitment Officer. Pretty happy about that. They hit a Luminarch Aspirant, not really a card we're too worried about. We have burn spells here. I think we just shoot one of these down now. And we come in for some damage. We could Rending Volley the other one. But if they end up tapping out again to draw a creature, we're pretty happy with it. Okay, they just have the Luminarch Aspirant, so we're probably just going to Rending Volley whatever they put the counter on. Ooh, Dauntless Bodyguard. I think we actually kill the Luminarch now. And even though they're going to make their Recruitment Officer indestructible, Or they just have 2 threats on the battlefield. They're not really that crazy right now. I think that's kind of an aggressive attack as well. Alright, so we top deck the land anyways. We can use the Obliterating Bolt here on the Dauntless Bodyguard. Actually, let's attack first. See if they block. Okay, they're just going to take the damage. Yeah, let's Obliterating Bolt here. And then we'll play Eidolon. So Eidolon kind of just like locks them out. They play 4 spells, they're just dead. And even if they just play like 2 spells, they're pretty much dead. And they're tapping out to be able to do that. It's pretty bad for them. Got a Mutavault. But they can't cast the Extraction Specialist that they revealed. We just hit a Lightning Strike. So we could Lightning Strike their creature, but we're just going to come in for some damage here. And they're just going to take it. Pretty surprised they didn't activate the Mutavault there to block the Chain Whirler. Even if they did, we probably just Lightning Strike it down. But now they're actually just dead to casting this Extraction Specialist because we have a Lightning Strike here. Okay, they just top deck a land anyway, so here comes the Extraction Specialist, and we'll just go ahead and Lightning Strike our opponent for the win here. Get an Eidolon trigger ourselves, but our opponent is going to die, so able to get some matches down with this deck. We'll go ahead and see you for the post-game wrap. And we're back for the post-game. Yeah, red deck just gets there. You can kind of just like burn your opponent out. Just want to make sure that you plan things strategically. You kind of saw in those human matchups where we just killed every card that they played, and we just had like a Phoenix Chick, an Eidolon, Chain Whirler, just like a few cards out that were just consistently dealing damage, and you kind of just close out the game. I mean, even Den of the Bugbear uncheck and can do quite a bit of work. Bone Crusher as well, as we mentioned earlier, always going to be a 2-for-1, but I definitely recommend this deck for the ladder, and I actually recommend it for any tournaments as well. We do host 3 a month that are all free to play, especially an Explorer one, so definitely check that out, and I hope that you stay cheesy.